The Merchant's Daughter. Marcus Webb adjusted the atmospheric regulator on his breathing mask as he stepped off the cargo transport onto Zirion Prime. The rusty docking platform stretched endlessly before him, crowded with alien vendors hawking their wares beneath the pale amber sky. Two suns cast overlapping shadows across the marketplace, creating a maze of light and darkness that reminded him why he loved frontier trading. The Ziriani people moved through the crowds like liquid mercury, their iridescent blue skin catching the dual sunlight. Their elongated limbs gave them an ethereal grace that Marcus found mesmerizing after months of dealing with the rigid bureaucrats on Earth's core worlds. Near a collapsed shipping container, a young Zirioni woman sat cross-legged on a tattered blanket. Her delicate hands arranged small figurines carved from what looked like crystallized bone. Unlike the other vendors who called out to potential customers, she worked in silence, her violet eyes downcast. Marcus approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. The figurines were exquisite. Tiny dancers frozen in mid-leap, warriors wielding impossible weapons, lovers embracing beneath twin moons. Each piece seemed to pulse with inner light. "How much for the dancing couple?" he asked, gesturing to a particularly beautiful piece. She looked up, and Marcus felt his breath catch. Her face was heart-shaped, with high cheekbones that spoke of noble lineage, but her clothes were patched and worn. Most striking were her eyes, deep violet pools that held too much sorrow for someone who couldn't be older than 25. "You are human," she said, her voice melodic despite the universal translator's mechanical rendering. "They say humans only value metal and circuits. This human values beauty and skill. These are magnificent." A faint blush darkened her cheeks to deeper blue. "I am Kira Valdris. These are all I have left of my family's art." "What happened?" Her hands stilled on the figurines. "The Dominion came. They said our district violated housing regulations, burned everything. My parents—" She shook her head. "Now my younger brother Tomas and I live in the Undercity. He is sick, and medicine costs more than we can earn." Marcus studied her face, noting the proud tilt of her chin despite her circumstances. Something stirred in his chest, part admiration, part protective instinct he hadn't felt in years. "I'll take all of them," he said quietly. Kira's eyes widened. I cannot accept charity." "It's not charity, it's business." He pulled out his credit chip. "Beautiful art deserves proper payment. And maybe you could show me more of your work tomorrow."
The Undercity tunnels reeked of recycled air and desperation. Marcus followed Kira through the maze of makeshift dwellings carved from shipping containers and abandoned machinery. Bioluminescent fungi provided the only light, casting everything in an eerie green glow. "Most humans never come down here," Kira said, glancing back at him nervously. "They say it's dangerous." "Is it?" "For some." She stopped before a container marked with Ziriani symbols, for those who mean harm to desperate people. Inside, the space was cramped but clean. Kira had arranged her few possessions with the same artistic eye evident in her sculptures. A thin blanket separated the main area from a smaller alcove where soft moaning could be heard. "Tomas," Kira called softly. A young Ziriani male emerged, his blue skin pale and mottled with fever spots. He couldn't be older than 16, with the same violet eyes as his sister, but dulled by illness. "Another customer, Kira?" His voice was weak but hopeful. "A friend," she corrected, surprising Marcus with the designation. "Marcus Webb, this is my brother Tomas." Marcus knelt beside the boy, recognizing the symptoms from his medical training. "Plasma fever. I've seen it on other worlds. Treatable, but the medication is expensive. 2,000 credits. Might as well be 2 million. Marcus was already reaching for his medical kit. "I carry emergency supplies. Basic plasma stabilizers should buy us time to get proper treatment." As he administered the injection, Kira watched with tears in her violet eyes. Why? Why help strangers? Their gazes met across her brother's sleeping form. Marcus felt something electric pass between them, a connection that transcended species barriers. Because it's right. Because you're not strangers anymore. Later, as Tomas slept peacefully, Kira led Marcus to a hidden alcove behind the market stalls. Ancient Zeriani murals covered the walls, depicting a golden age before the Dominion's rule. "My grandfather painted these," she whispered, her hand tracing the faded images. "He used to tell stories about the Crystal Heart." "What's that?" "Legend says it was a sacred artifact that could unite all the scattered Zeriani clans. When the Dominion conquered us, it vanished." Her fingers lingered on a mural showing a gem that seemed to pulse with inner fire. "Some say it still exists, hidden somewhere in the old city." Marcus stepped closer, drawn by her passionate whisper. "You believe the legends?" "I believe in hope." She turned to face him, and suddenly they were inches apart. The space between them crackled with tension. "Even when hope seems impossible." Marcus reached up to touch her face, his human fingers rough against her silky blue skin. "Kira." She leaned into his touch, her eyes fluttering closed. "This is forbidden. Humans in Zeriani. The Dominion has laws." "Then maybe it's time to break some laws."
The resistance meeting took place in an abandoned thermal plant deep beneath Zerion Prime's surface. Marcus counted 24 Zeriani rebels, their faces grim with determination and desperation. Steam hissed from broken pipes, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Jorik Fane, the resistance leader, studied Marcus with calculating yellow eyes. "You're certain this human can be trusted, Kira?" "He saved my brother's life," Kira replied firmly, "and he's offered to help us locate the Crystal Heart." Marcus stepped forward. "I have access to Dominion shipping records through my trading license. If this artifact was moved recently, I can track it." "The Crystal Heart is more than just a symbol," Jorik explained. "It's a psychic amplifier. In the right hands, it could coordinate our scattered people across the galaxy, unite them for the first time in centuries." Over the following weeks, Marcus and Kira worked together, infiltrating Dominion facilities and following increasingly dangerous leads. Their partnership deepened with each mission, professional cooperation evolving into something more intimate. During a late-night stakeout of a Dominion warehouse, they finally found themselves alone. The abandoned building overlooked the city's glittering spires, twin moons painting everything in silver light. "I never expected this," Kira whispered, her head resting on Marcus's shoulder. "To feel this way about someone so different." Marcus tilted her chin up, studying her beautiful alien features. "Different doesn't matter. What matters is this." He placed her hand over his heart. "What I feel when I'm with you." Their first kiss was tentative, a crossing of boundaries both physical and cultural. Kira's lips were softer than human lips, tasting faintly of the nectar fruits that grew in her homeland. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. "The others would say this is impossible," she murmured against his neck. "Human and Zerioni physiology." "Let me show you how possible it is," Marcus whispered, his hands tangling in her silver-streaked hair. They made love slowly, carefully, discovering how their bodies could complement each other despite their differences. Kira's skin glowed softly in the moonlight, bioluminescent patterns appearing and disappearing as her passion built. Marcus traced these ephemeral tattoos with reverent fingers, memorizing every curve and hollow. Afterward, they lay intertwined beneath the alien stars, both knowing their relationship had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. "Whatever happens," Kira said softly, "I want you to know this meant everything to me." Marcus pulled her closer. "It's not ending. We're going to find the crystal heart, free your people, and build something beautiful together." The next morning brought news that changed everything. Jorik burst into their hideout with intelligence that the crystal heart had been found, but it was being held in the Dominion's most secure facility, a fortress that had never been breached. "It's impossible," one rebel muttered. Marcus and Kira exchanged glances. "No," Marcus said firmly, "just difficult, and we've handled difficult before."
The ancient city of Voldara lay buried beneath centuries of sediment and neglect. Marcus and Kira descended through forgotten passages, their stolen Dominion equipment casting dancing shadows on walls covered with primordial Gerioni script. "The fortress will be impenetrable from the outside," Kira explained, consulting the crude map they'd assembled. "But these tunnels predate the Dominion occupation. If the old stories are true, they should connect to the foundation levels." They had been declared fugitives after their last mission went wrong. Dominion forces were hunting them throughout the city, but the ruins offered sanctuary. Here, among the bones of Kira's ancestral civilization, they could plan their final desperate gambit. Marcus watched Kira work by lamplight, her fingers tracing ancient symbols with practiced ease. She had changed over the past weeks. The frightened refugee had become a confident leader, someone worthy of the noble heritage her features suggested. "You can read this?" he asked, genuinely impressed. "My grandmother taught me before she died. She said knowledge of the old ways might be important someday." Kira's violet eyes met his. I never imagined how right she was. They made camp in what had once been a temple, judging by the intricate carvings that covered every surface. As night fell over the ruins, bioluminescent algae began to glow, transforming the chamber into something magical. "It's beautiful," Marcus breathed, pulling Kira close. "Your people created something amazing here." "My people created many amazing things," she replied, sadly, "before we forgot how to be united." Marcus turned her to face him, hands framing her delicate features. "Then we'll help them remember." Their lovemaking that night was different from before, more urgent, tinged with the knowledge that tomorrow might bring separation or death. Kira's bioluminescent patterns blazed more brightly than ever before, her alien beauty taking Marcus's breath away. "I love you," he whispered against her throat, the words coming easier than he'd expected. Kira's response was wordless but profound, her body speaking a language older than words. They moved together in ancient rhythm, human and Gerioni becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. Later, as they lay entangled beneath the glowing ceiling, Kira traced patterns on Marcus's chest. "If we succeed tomorrow, what then? Where do we go?" Marcus considered carefully. "Wherever we want. The galaxy is vast, and there are worlds where love matters more than species." "And if we fail?" He pulled her closer. "Then we fail together. That's what love means, facing whatever comes as one." Dawn arrived too soon, filtered through the ruins' broken canopy. As they prepared their equipment for the assault on the fortress, both knew this would be their greatest test. The crystal heart waited, but between them and their goal lay an army of Dominion soldiers. "Ready?" Marcus asked, checking his weapons one final time. Kira nodded, her artist's hands now steady on the grip of her plasma rifle. "For my people, for us, for the future we're going to build." They emerged from the ruins as the twin suns painted the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Two lovers against an empire. Morning arrived with unexpected silence. The howling winds that had battered Kythera for 3 days finally stilled, leaving behind a crystalline quiet that felt almost sacred. In the healing chamber deep beneath the ice, 3 lives had been transformed. Baby Kyle was not only healthy but thriving, his violet eyes bright and alert as he gazed up at the 2 people who had become his world. Naya sat cross-legged on the warm platform, nursing her son while humming softly. The healing process had restored her completely, the wound on her side now nothing but a thin silver line. Jackson stood at the chamber's edge, checking his communication device. The storm's end meant rescue would come soon. His emergency beacon was broadcasting steadily, and Orbital Command would dispatch a recovery team within hours. He should have been relieved. Instead, he felt torn in half. "They will come for you," Naya said quietly, not looking up from her baby. "Yes." The word came out rougher than he intended. "Good. You will go home to your people." "Will I?" Jackson turned to face her, his expression intense. "Is that what you want?" Naya finally looked up, and he saw tears glistening in her violet eyes. "What I want," she began, then stopped, shaking her head. "It does not matter what I want. It's the only thing that matters." He crossed the chamber in 3 quick strides and knelt beside her, careful not to disturb Kyle, but needing to be close. The baby reached out with one tiny hand and grasped Jackson's finger with surprising strength. "Look at him. He already knows me." "Kyle children bond quickly with those who save them. He will remember you always. I don't want to be a memory." The words hung between them, heavy with possibility. Naya's breath caught as she studied his face, searching for certainty in his expression. "My world is ice and silence. Your world is stars in movement. How can—" "My world is wherever you are, both of you. I know it sounds impossible, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life." Above them, the healing crystals pulsed with gentle warmth, as if the ancient chamber itself was blessing their decision. Kyle made a contented sound and snuggled closer to his mother, still gripping Jackson's finger. "The evacuation ships," Naya said slowly. "They went to the colony world of Teresia. New ice cities. New beginning. Would you want to go there?" "With you?" she asked, hope flickering in her eyes. "With me." The sound of aircraft engines echoed from far above, growing louder. The rescue team had arrived. Jackson felt a moment of panic, as if his old life was about to reclaim him by force. "I have to tell them. About you. About Kyle. About my decision." Naya rose gracefully, still holding her son. "And if they say no? If they will not take us?" Jackson's jaw set with determination. "I'll find another way. I'll resign my commission, buy a civilian transport, whatever it takes." He cupped her face gently. "I'm not leaving you behind." The aircraft sounds were very close now. Soon voices would echo down the passageways, calling his name. But for this moment, they had peace. "I love you," he said simply. "Both of you. I know it's fast, I know it's crazy, but I love you." Naya's tears finally spilled over, but she was smiling. "In my language, we have a saying. The heart knows its home before the mind accepts the journey. I think my heart has been waiting for you." They kissed then, soft and sweet, while Kyle gurgled his approval. Above them, the ancient crystals sang with harmonics of joy, a soul song that would echo through the ice long after they were gone. When the rescue team finally found them, they discovered not one survivor, but a family. Captain Jackson Reed filed his request for extended leave that same day, citing personal circumstances.
3 weeks later, a small transport ship left for the Teresia colonies, carrying 2 adults, 1 baby, and enough love to warm even the coldest ice world. The shelter beneath Kythera's frozen surface stood empty once again, but the crystals still pulsed with gentle light, waiting for the next souls who needed healing. And sometimes, when the aurora danced across the planet's northern pole, travelers claimed they could hear singing in the wind, a lullaby of hope that would guide the lost safely home.